Slavery is not a secret. What people of color had to go through in this country is not a secret. We have learned from this. We have grown. Somebody replied and said, only 1.6% of Americans had slaves in 1860 at the height of slavery. Fact. You can look up the census records for yourself and do the math. And if you think slaves built everything in the 13 original colonies, then I have some news for you. Now, I had heard this 1.6% stat before, but I never really looked into it, and this comment stood out to me. So I Googled it, and oh my God, like there was a USA fact check. It was the first thing that popped up when I Googled it. And they said that it had missing context, that this was not accurate. And so I kept reading, and then deep down in the article, they said that the math was wrong, and actually, it was only 1.4% of Americans who owned slaves in 1860, not helping their case at all. But the top of that fact check said missing context, this is not accurate, when literally it was less than what is said. And then they go on to say that many academics believe that, that stat doesn't show the magnitude of slavery and what people had to endure and the impact that it has had on modern Americans with that historical trauma. So they throw around a few other numbers, like you need to include the entire family of the slave owner, like the children and the extended family, all the babies, the grandparents, everybody has to be lumped in. That number moved up to about 20% of the country. And then they said that actually the best way to measure it was within the 15 states where it was legal in 1860, because out of the 33, there were only 15 where it was legal. I prepared myself for a big number. I was like, okay, all right, this is going to be a doozy. I get it. This is, different. No, 5%.
Well, that was anticlimactic.
5% of individuals in states where slavery was legal owned slaves. You are now claiming that all modern white people are bad because 1.4% or 5% of the country almost 200 years ago owned slaves. We fought a war over this because the majority of the country believed that this was a true moral wrong and needed to be eradicated on a federal scale. It is insane, and you are still trying to perpetrate this lie to children. Take that as you will. Slavery obviously was an atrocity in America. It is still an atrocity around the world that many people in third world countries are still fighting against today that we, for some reason, don't talk about a lot. It is an important part of our history, but they are keeping racial tensions alive by inserting race and segregation into everything in 2023. They are making Disney kids show episodes about reparations. Somebody said this to me yesterday, and I think it just kind of sums it up well. Our biggest problem in America is figuring out what to do with all of the opportunities, wealth, and privilege that we have. That is not oppression, no matter which way that you spin it.